Go ahead, if you think you can handle it, someone whispered from the back of the ballroom. Laughter dancing lightly around the towering chandeliers, the clinking of crystal glasses punctuating the murmur as Lily Harper stepped forward, her worn shoes sliding softly on the polished oak floor, the subtle scent of lavender from the centerpieces mixing with the faint tang of champagne. Every gaze in the room following her as she approached the grand piano at the center, the keys gleaming under the warm, golden light, her fingers brushing briefly over the surface, a shiver of anticipation racing up her spine as she felt the weight of the moment pressing gently on her shoulders, her heart beating in quiet sync with the distant murmur of the string quartet warming up at the side, a slow, measured inhale grounding her before she sat down, straightening her posture with a composed dignity. The polished wood reflecting her determined expression, Jonathan Carlyle at the front row tilting. His head, eyes narrowing as he smirked, his tailored navy suit immaculate, a subtle eyebrow raised signaling both amusement and challenge, the other guests leaning slightly forward in their seats, murmuring quietly amongst themselves, some curious, some skeptical, some clearly expecting a misstep. Lily took a deep breath, feeling the rhythm of the room, the collective energy flowing around her, each flicker of candlelight casting shadows that danced along the walls, a small bead of sweat forming at her temple, quickly brushed away, her fingers hovering over the first keys, a gentle tremor that belied the absolute control she had honed through years of secret practice in the quiet corners of her home, the faint sound of her own heartbeat echoing in her ears as the room seemed to stretch and hold its collective breath. Then, with a deliberate press, the first note resonated through the air, pure and unwavering, slicing cleanly through the tension, causing the laughter to falter, a subtle ripple of surprise passing through the crowd. Jonathan's smirk faltering as his gaze sharpened, the notes flowing from Lily's fingers like liquid silk, each chord precise, dynamic, the melody weaving an invisible thread that drew the room into a suspended, almost sacred stillness, the air thick with anticipation, glasses forgotten in trembling hands, whispered reactions dampened by the beauty of the sound. Lily's eyes briefly lifting from the keys, scanning the audience with quiet confidence, sensing the shift, the growing awe, the unspoken recognition of talent that transcended expectation. And in that single, continuous moment, the ballroom had transformed, the laughter silenced, the challenge met, and the room hanging, suspended on the edge of wonder, everyone waiting, captivated, their disbelief slowly dissolving into a shared, silent acknowledgement of the unexpected brilliance before them, leaving only Lily and the resonating notes, a perfect tension before the next act of her story unfolds. The final chord hung in the air, reverberating through the grand ballroom as the audience sat frozen, the soft hum of their astonishment blending with the fading echo of Lily Harper's fingers gliding across the piano keys. Jonathan Carlyle, leaning slightly forward in his chair, his usual confidence replaced by a quiet curiosity. The warm glow of the chandeliers reflecting off the polished oak floor and the crystal glasses lined along the tables, casting delicate prisms of light that danced across the room, Lily's chest rising and falling with calm precision, each breath measured, her posture straight, shoulders relaxed yet poised, the faint scent of her lavender perfume mingling with the subtle aroma of polished wood and evening roses, the audience slowly exhaling as the spell of her music settled over them, a murmur of admiration threading through the quiet, a few guests exchanging astonished glances while others remained still, absorbing every note, their hands folded on laps, or resting lightly on table edges, eyes never leaving her, Jonathan's gaze flickering between the elegant curve of her hands and the serene focus etched on her face, a subtle smile forming as he realized the depth of her skill, the quiet authority she held despite her youth and modest appearance, the once skeptical whispers dissolving into a shared sense of wonder. The sound of the piano now a bridge connecting Lily to each person present, a gentle pulse that seemed to synchronize the room's collective heartbeat, the moments stretching yet never losing momentum, each note carrying a story, a history of dedication, of late nights spent practicing in a small sunlit room above her mother's bakery, of quiet determination and unspoken courage, the soft rustle of dresses, and the shuffle of polished shoes against the floor punctuating the performance without breaking the spell. Jonathan leaning back slightly, a hand brushing his chin, eyes narrowing not with doubt, but with deep reflection, the realization settling. In that talent often comes hidden, unassuming, yet with the power to command attention and respect. A young couple at the side exchanging nods, lips parted in silent acknowledgement of the beauty before them. And as Lily's final phrase lingered, fading into the stillness, the room held a suspended breath, an almost tangible pause before the world would resume. Everyone present carrying the imprint of her performance, the knowledge that they had witnessed not just music, but a quiet triumph, a statement of grace and resilience. And as she gently lifted her hands from the keys, the faintest smile touching her lips, eyes meeting Jonathan's for a fleeting second, a silent understanding passing between them, an unspoken promise of more, of secrets yet to be revealed, leaving the audience captivated, anticipation thick, and the ballroom alive with the subtle electricity of awe and the unspoken question of what Lily Harper might unveil next. The applause that had begun as hesitant claps now swelled into a gentle wave, echoing against the high ceilings of the grand ballroom, the crystal chandeliers flickering softly, as if acknowledging the shift in energy. Lily Harper remained seated at the piano, fingers poised, eyes scanning the crowd with calm intensity, a quiet smile forming as she noticed the subtle nods and widened eyes of the guests. Jonathan Carlyle leaning forward, hand resting lightly on his chin, the disbelief in his expression giving way to genuine admiration. The subtle scent of roses and polished wood mingling with the faint aroma of evening perfume, the soft shuffle of gowns and dress shoes punctuating the ambient hum of astonishment. Lily's breathing steady and measured, her posture maintaining perfect balance between elegance and quiet strength, the subtle tension of expectation still lingering in the air, each note of the subsequent melody flowing seamlessly from her fingers, the sound filling every corner of the room, wrapping around each listener like a gentle, persuasive current, the guests leaning in involuntarily, drawn to the artistry and the unexpected mastery before them, whispers fading to silence as the music spoke for her, the young pianist's talent now undeniable, her hands moving with fluid precision, articulating each phrase with both confidence and subtle emotion. Jonathan's eyes reflecting a mixture of respect and wonder as he watched, the audience's earlier amusement transformed into an attentive reverence, Lily's gaze briefly lifting to meet his, a silent exchange passing between them, acknowledging the recognition of skill and the quiet triumph of her persistence, the piano's resonance carrying a delicate warmth that seemed to fill not only the space but the hearts of those present, the room breathing as one with the performance, every glance and subtle movement captured in the glow of the chandelier light, the faintest brush of Lily's hair against her cheek, the gentle shift of her shoulders, the minuscule rise and fall of her chest, all magnified in the close observation of the onlookers, the audience's collective attention captured entirely, the anticipation of what would follow hanging in a suspended pause, Jonathan leaning slightly, eyes narrowing not with doubt, but with thoughtful appraisal, a shared acknowledgement of her talent spreading quietly from guest to guest, the soft exhale of a few observers punctuating the stillness as the music reached its final passages, Lily's fingers tracing the closing chords with deliberate care, each sound lingering briefly before fading into the attentive hush, the room fully immersed in the moment, a gentle thrill of admiration and curiosity lingering in the air, the sense that the evening had shifted subtly but permanently, a quiet understanding that there was more yet to be revealed, and that Lily Harper had not only met but exceeded the unspoken challenge, leaving the ballroom suspended in awe, anticipation, and a growing eagerness for the next note of her story to unfold. The soft echo of the final chord still vibrated through the vast ballroom, lingering in the polished corners and along the intricate moldings, as Lily Harper lifted her hands gently from the keys, letting the resonance fade naturally into the hush that had settled over the audience. Jonathan Carlyle sitting forward, hands clasped loosely, his usual composure replaced by a quiet, almost imperceptible admiration, the soft glow of the chandeliers reflecting in his eyes, capturing the astonishment and respect that had replaced the earlier skepticism. the guests leaning slightly forward in their seats, whispered exchanges fading as they absorbed the magnitude of what they had just witnessed, the subtle rustle of silk and satin brushing against the oak floor, the faint scent of roses and polished wood still hanging in the air, every movement magnified by the attentive silence. Lily's chest rising and falling in calm, deliberate rhythm, her posture maintaining a perfect blend of elegance and quiet authority, the gentle swell of the piano strings still ringing in memory, creating a connection that seemed to bind the audience together in shared recognition of skill and dedication. A soft smile brushing her lips as she noted the subtle shift in the room. The previously dismissive guests now fully engaged, eyes wide with wonder and heads slightly tilted in contemplation, Jonathan's gaze lingering on her hands, a trace of awe in the way he observed the grace and precision with which each finger had moved, the delicate energy of the evening wrapping around them, the sense of anticipation still thick in the air, a pause pregnant with possibility. Lily leaning back slightly, eyes scanning the faces before her, noting the transformation from amusement to respect, the quiet acknowledgement of her talent rippling through the crowd, the atmosphere charged with the unspoken understanding that the evening had shifted, that the power of talent and determination could bridge gaps of status and expectation, a faint whisper of movement from the musicians at the side adding to the subtle rhythm of the room, the chandeliers casting shifting light patterns that seemed to mirror the fluidity of her performance, each observer caught in the delicate balance between admiration and the lingering traces of their own surprise, the moment stretching without urgency, every breath measured, every glance laden with reflection. Jonathan leaning back with a thoughtful exhale, hands lightly resting on the polished edge of the table, the room holding on to the silence and the resonance of Lily Harper's presence, the quiet electricity of awe and curiosity lingering in the corners, leaving a delicate tension that promised there was more yet to come, a sense of expectation hanging lightly above the polished floors, the soft hum of conversation ready to resume but restrained, the audience collectively suspended in anticipation of what she would reveal next, the piano, the girl, and the ballroom all connected in a fleeting, shared awareness of the extraordinary and the unspoken, as the subtle anticipation of the next movement held the room in rapt attention. Every detail from the glint of chandeliers to the faintest breath captured in perfect stillness, a quiet tension that spoke of potential, of unfolding mastery, and of the silent but undeniable command of Lily Harper over the space and the hearts of all present. As the soft hum of lingering notes faded completely, Lily Harper remained seated, hands resting lightly on the polished keys, eyes lifting slowly to survey the audience, the room still suspended in that delicate balance between disbelief and awe. Jonathan Carlyle leaning forward, elbows resting gently on the table edge, his gaze fixed intently on her, the subtle shift from skepticism to admiration apparent in the tension of his shoulders and the narrowing of his eyes. The glow from the chandeliers scattering prisms of light across the polished floor, reflecting off the guests' expressions, capturing surprise, curiosity, and the faintest hint of envy. Lily's posture calm, composed, the faint rise and fall of her chest in perfect rhythm with the silent heartbeat of the ballroom, the soft rustle of gowns, and the light tap of polished shoes on the floor punctuating the otherwise still air, her fingers flexing gently, as if recalling the journey that had led her here. Each subtle motion a testament to years of quiet dedication and unspoken perseverance, the scent of roses and polished wood blending with the faint aroma of champagne, a reminder of the opulence surrounding her, yet it felt secondary to the gravity of the moment. Jonathan tilting his head slightly, eyes scanning the precision of her hands, the controlled elegance of every movement, the audience collectively drawn into the intricate web of her performance, leaning in. Even the most confident guests unprepared for the subtle power she commanded through sound, whispers fading into reverent silence, heads turning slightly as they absorbed the unexpected mastery, the tension of anticipation and the quiet weight of realization settling like a tangible force, the faintest smile brushing Lily's lips as she noted the transformation, the subtle recognition of talent and strength rippling through the crowd. Jonathan exhaling slowly, the shift in his expression from amusement to reflective admiration evident in the relaxed set of his jaw. A few guests nodding imperceptibly to each other, a silent acknowledgement passing through the room that this performance had changed the evening. Lily's gaze sweeping across the captivated faces, sensing the shift, the undercurrent of expectation now mingled with respect, the grand piano's polished surface catching the light, reflecting not just her image but the quiet authority she now held. The faint murmur of the string quartet in the background serving as a soft undercurrent to the tension. Each guest absorbing the subtle interplay of music, light, and poised confidence, the air still thick with the charged atmosphere of recognition and awe. Every detail, from the smallest flicker of a candle to the careful measured breath of each observer, heightening the impression of mastery, leaving an unspoken promise of more to come. A suspended curiosity as the audience sat, eyes fixed, the ballroom holding its collective breath for the next note, the next movement, the next revelation. Every element coalescing into a shared experience of unexpected brilliance and quiet triumph. Lily Harper, at the center, serene, composed, yet radiating a palpable command that had turned doubt into admiration and left the room waiting, eager, suspended on the edge of anticipation for what she would unveil next. The quiet that had settled over the ballroom after Lily Harper's performance lingered, a delicate tension woven into the air, as if the room itself were holding its breath. Jonathan Carlyle, shifting slightly in his seat, eyes tracing the graceful lines of her posture, the subtle movements of her fingers still fresh in his mind, the soft glow of the chandeliers highlighting the glint of polished brass and crystal, reflecting across the guests' expressions, a spectrum of astonishment, curiosity, and newfound respect. The faint aroma of roses mixing with the lingering scent of the polished oak floors, a reminder of the elegance surrounding them. Lily's gaze sweeping methodically over the audience, catching the subtle nods, the small widening of eyes, the gentle leaning forward of some observers who could not tear themselves away, the ambient sound of the string quartet playing a quiet, accompanying melody at the side, providing a delicate rhythm that underscored the charged atmosphere. The room vibrating with the resonance of her presence, a mixture of awe and anticipation threading through the guests. Jonathan leaning forward, elbows lightly resting on the table, a thoughtful expression shadowing his features, lips pressed lightly together as he considered the depth of skill and poise displayed, the subtle shift from initial amusement to a recognition of talent, the soft clink of glass in the background unnoticed as all attention was focused on the young pianist, the measured rise and fall of Lily's chest mirroring the stillness around her, every breath deliberate, drawing in the attention of the room and holding it in suspension, her hands flexing lightly on the polished keys as if recalling the journey of discipline and quiet practice that had brought her here, a journey of late nights, focused study, and unwavering persistence. The audience slowly leaning in as if drawn by an invisible current, the subtle movement of their heads reflecting a collective engagement that had replaced doubt with admiration. Jonathan's eyes narrowing slightly, not in skepticism but in deep focus, the realization of her mastery settling firmly in his mind. The room collectively acknowledging the unexpected power of talent and determination, the faint rustle of gowns and shoes on the polished floor, adding a soft, rhythmic underscore to the silent recognition. Each person processing the quiet triumph and poised authority of Lily Harper, a shared understanding forming that the performance was more than a display of skill, it was a statement of resilience and composure. The chandelier light catching the smallest details, from the slight tilt of her head to the gentle arch of her fingers above the keys, each moment magnified in the attentive observation of the crowd, the air heavy with anticipation for what she might reveal next, a quiet electricity hanging between her and the audience, every subtle glance and movement resonating in the space, as if the room itself were holding a collective breath, aware that something extraordinary had occurred and that the unfolding moments would continue to command attention, the soft background of whispered admiration weaving into the tension, leaving the grand ballroom suspended in a delicate, shared moment of astonishment, reflection, and unspoken expectation. With Lily at its center, poised, composed, and commanding the room with a presence that had transformed the perception of everyone present. The subtle shift in the atmosphere of the ballroom was palpable as Lily Harper's hands lingered briefly over the piano keys, the soft glow of the chandeliers highlighting the elegant contours of her profile and the calm determination in her eyes. Jonathan Carlyle, leaning slightly forward, elbows resting lightly on the edge of the table, observing every delicate motion with an intensity that betrayed a growing respect. The faint rustle of silk and satin brushing the polished oak floors. Punctuating the stillness, the ambient fragrance of roses and faint perfume hanging in the air, each note of the residual melody echoing in memory, drawing the audience deeper into the moment, their expressions shifting from initial astonishment to a quiet reverence, whispers of admiration circulating subtly as the collective understanding of her mastery settled over the room, the subtle rise and fall of Lily's chest. Synchronized with the stillness, her posture a blend of grace and quiet authority, the polished piano surface reflecting the golden chandelier light and the attentive faces before her, the soft hum of the string quartet accompanying the lingering tension, the room holding on to the suspended anticipation, each observer caught between curiosity and awe. Jonathan's eyes narrowing in thoughtful focus as he recognized the full extent of her skill, the audience collectively leaning in, drawn by the magnetic precision of her fingers, the seamless articulation of melody and rhythm that spoke of years of dedication and practice, the faintest smile tugging at Lily's lips as she noticed subtle nods and widened eyes, a silent acknowledgement of her talent and presence, the tension thick yet controlled, the energy in the room vibrating with the quiet power of achievement and unexpected grace, every glimmer of light, every subtle breath, every minuscule movement captured in the attentive gaze of the audience, the soft exhale of admiration blending with the subtle shift of chairs and the almost imperceptible adjustment of posture among the guests, the collective recognition of her accomplishment forming an unspoken bond between performer and spectators, the elegance of the moment amplified by the attentive quiet, the delicate interplay of sound, light, and poise creating a resonance that extended beyond the music itself, the room suspended in a fragile balance of awe and anticipation. Each person aware of the significance of the unfolding scene, Jonathan leaning back slowly, a hand brushing lightly along his jawline, eyes reflecting contemplation and a newfound appreciation, the subtle energy of expectation lingering like a soft current, drawing every eye to the poised figure at the piano, the quiet mastery in her movements suggesting stories untold, journeys undertaken, and triumphs quietly achieved. And as the final vibrations faded into a reverent hush, the ballroom remained suspended in that exquisite moment, a shared, silent understanding that Lily Harper had transformed the space, capturing attention, commanding respect, and leaving an indelible impression that promised more revelations in the unfolding evening. The moment stretched in delicate silence, the air thick with the lingering resonance of Lily Harper's music, every guest frozen in their seats, eyes wide and fixed, some leaning subtly forward, others holding their breath, the chandeliers casting warm, golden reflections across polished floors, each crystal prism catching fragments of astonishment, the faint scent of roses mingling with the subtle aroma of waxed wood, Lily's fingers resting lightly on the piano keys, her posture a perfect balance of poise and quiet authority, her chest rising and falling with measured calm, a soft smile tracing her lips as she scanned the room, taking in the subtle shift in expressions from skepticism to admiration. Jonathan Carlyle, shifting slightly, his sharp eyes softening as he observed the gentle grace and undeniable skill displayed before him, the faint rustle of silk gowns and the delicate tap of polished shoes punctuating the stillness without breaking it, the soft background hum of the string quartet creating a gentle rhythm beneath the charged atmosphere, whispers of surprise and respect passing quietly among the guests, some nodding almost imperceptibly, acknowledging the unexpected mastery that had unfolded, the room collectively suspended in a moment of awe and reflection, every subtle movement amplified in the attentive gaze of the audience, the glow of the chandeliers, highlighting the precise arch of Lily's fingers, the delicate tilt of her head, the soft flutter of her eyelids, all magnified by the intensity of observation. Jonathan leaning back with a thoughtful exhale, a hand brushing lightly along his jawline, eyes reflecting the weight of the realization that the young pianist had not only met the unspoken challenge, but had transformed the perception of the room entirely. A quiet electricity threading through the space, a shared awareness of brilliance and dedication. The tension and expectation still palpable, the gentle exhale of the audience blending with the faint creak of chairs adjusting, the soft shuffle of feet on polished floors, the collective acknowledgement of talent and poise settling like a tangible presence. Lily's gaze sweeping over each face, noting the subtle nods, the widening of eyes, the gentle inclination of heads, the room holding its collective breath, waiting, poised between wonder and curiosity, the delicate interplay of music, light, and composure creating a resonance that extended beyond sound. Each observer acutely aware of the quiet triumph unfolding, the chandelier light refracting across eyes, polished surfaces, and flowing fabrics, capturing the energy of the moment in small, mesmerizing details. Every person present drawn into the suspended anticipation, sensing the significance of the performance, the subtle power of quiet confidence, and the unspoken message of perseverance and mastery. The room, breathing as one, each guest absorbed in the delicate tension, the unfolding awareness that this was not merely a performance, but a statement, a testament to skill, patience, and quiet courage, leaving an indelible impression that would linger long after the final note. A room transformed by the presence, talent, and poise of Lily Harper, every eye captivated, every mind quietly calculating the extraordinary potential that had just been revealed. The moment seemed to stretch infinitely, the soft residual resonance of Lily Harper's performance still lingering in the polished air of the ballroom. Every guest frozen, caught between the awe of what they had just witnessed and the curiosity of what would come next. Jonathan Carlyle leaning forward, his hands resting lightly on the table, eyes scanning every subtle gesture of her poised form. The chandelier light catching the gentle shine of her hair and reflecting across the glossy floor, creating fragments of gold that danced among the guests' expressions of wonder and contemplation. The soft murmur of silk dresses brushing the floor blending with the faint creak of polished shoes, a delicate rhythm underscoring the heavy quiet that had settled over the room. Lily's fingers flexing lightly, as if recalling the journey of years spent mastering her craft, each motion a testament to dedication and quiet perseverance. Her posture perfectly balanced, radiating calm confidence that drew every eye to her. The ambient scent of roses and polished wood mixing with the soft fragrance of perfume lingering in the air, the audience collectively leaning in, drawn into the subtle gravity of her presence, whispers of admiration dissolving into a shared silence, heads tilting slightly, eyes widening, a few guests exchanging subtle nods. The unspoken acknowledgement of talent and poise passing like a gentle current through the room. Jonathan's expression softening, a thoughtful exhale, accompanying the subtle shift from skepticism to genuine appreciation, the delicate interplay of light, sound, and composure creating an invisible thread connecting Lily to each observer, the soft background hum of the string quartet, providing a gentle undertone to the charged stillness, the polished piano reflecting the golden glow of the chandeliers, every detail magnified, from the smallest curve of her fingers to the calm, deliberate rise and fall of her chest, the room suspended in a collective recognition of the quiet mastery and unexpected brilliance before them. Each observer caught between reverence and anticipation, the subtle energy threading through the audience like a soft current, drawing all attention to the poised figure at the piano. Jonathan leaning slightly, eyebrows lifted, a faint smile forming as he processed the elegance, skill, and calm authority of the young pianist. The guest's collective breath held in suspense, waiting for the next movement, the next note, the unfolding continuation of a story told not only through music, but through the unspoken power of presence. Every gaze anchored on Lily, sensing the depth of discipline and the courage it took to meet such scrutiny with grace. The ambient light, casting soft shadows that mirrored the tension and expectation, the quiet, almost sacred, attention of the room forming a subtle, shared pulse of curiosity and admiration. The softest exhale of the audience mingling with the fading warmth of the chandeliers. A gentle acknowledgement spreading from guest to guest. The atmosphere thick with awe and unspoken respect. The moment stretching, suspended on the fragile edge of revelation. Every movement, breath, and glint of light captured in the attentive observation of all present, leaving the ballroom poised, enchanted, and waiting, as if the next gesture or note from Lily Harper would unlock an entirely new chapter in the shared experience of wonder and quiet triumph. As the soft reverberations of the piano faded completely, a new awareness settled across the grand ballroom, the audience collectively realizing the extraordinary depth of Lily Harper's talent. Jonathan Carlyle's posture shifted subtly, hands resting lightly on the table, eyes tracing every delicate movement of her fingers, the chandeliers scattering fragments of golden light across polished floors and attentive faces. The gentle rustle of silk gowns and soft tap of polished shoes punctuating the suspended stillness, the subtle fragrance of roses blending with the faint aroma of polished wood, each detail magnified by the room's quiet intensity. Lily's posture perfectly composed, the measured rise and fall of her chest a rhythmic anchor in the tension-filled space, a soft, confident smile brushing her lips as she noted the shift in the audience's demeanor, from curiosity to admiration. Whispers dying on tongues as each observer absorbed the realization of her mastery. Jonathan, leaning slightly forward, elbows resting on the polished table edge, a faint smile playing across his face as he assessed the quiet authority and control emanating from her. The guests' heads tilting imperceptibly, eyes widening, subtle nods passing between some in silent acknowledgement of skill and poise, the soft hum of the string quartet providing a delicate undertone to the charged atmosphere, every observer captivated by the interplay of sound, light, and Lily's serene confidence. The glow from the chandeliers catching the precise curvature of her fingers and the gentle sweep of her hair, reflecting a quiet elegance that heightened the room's sense of anticipation. The polished surface of the grand piano mirroring the expressions of astonishment and admiration. The audience leaning in ever so slightly, drawn by the magnetic presence and refined skill of the young pianist. Jonathan's gaze sharpening with thoughtful concentration, the realization of her extraordinary abilities sinking in, the room collectively suspended in awe, each breath held, each subtle shift in expression magnified by the hush. Lily's fingers flexing lightly, as if recalling years of dedication, the quiet persistence and disciplined practice behind each note. The atmosphere electric yet contained, a soft, almost imperceptible hum threading through the audience. As the recognition of talent and mastery spread silently, the chandelier's light refracting across the polished wood and crystal, capturing the delicate tension of the moment, the faint exhale of the audience mingling with the quiet energy of anticipation, every subtle glance, every minute gesture accentuating the profound impression she had made. Jonathan leaning back with a measured exhale, his expression softening into reflective admiration, the guests collectively absorbing the transformative effect of the performance, the subtle interplay of light, movement, and sound creating a resonant tension, an unspoken understanding that Lily Harper had claimed not only the attention but the respect of everyone present, the room holding its breath, poised for what might follow next, each observer sensing the potential for yet more revelations, the delicate electricity of expectation threading through the air, connecting performer and audience in a shared experience of wonder, mastery, and quiet triumph, leaving a suspended sense of anticipation that seemed to stretch infinitely, the ballroom alive with subtle energy, every eye fixed, every heart quietly aware that the evening had shifted in a profound and lasting way, all centered on Lily Harper, poised, composed, and radiant at the piano. Jonathan Carlyle leaned back in his chair, eyes fixed on Lily Harper, the soft golden light of the chandeliers reflecting in his thoughtful gaze as he absorbed the realization of how profoundly she had altered the atmosphere of the ballroom, his mind tracing the quiet journey of dedication, practice, and composure that had led to this moment. A faint exhale escaping his lips as he acknowledged, internally, the depth of her talent, the subtle shift from skepticism to awe playing across his features, the audience still suspended in a delicate balance of reverence and curiosity, heads turning slightly, eyes following her poised form, whispers fading into attentive silence as the weight of recognition settled in, Lily's hands resting lightly on the piano. The gentle rise and fall of her chest synchronized with the calm energy that radiated throughout the room, the polished floors reflecting the glow of the chandeliers and the attentive faces, the soft scent of roses and polished wood mingling in the air, a delicate reminder of the elegance surrounding them. Jonathan's gaze narrowing with quiet concentration, noticing the precise control, grace, and quiet authority that Lily projected with every measured movement. The faintest smile tracing his lips as he allowed himself to marvel at the poise and composure displayed. Before him, the subtle rustle of silk dresses and the gentle tap of polished shoes punctuating the attentive stillness, the collective attention of the guests fully drawn to the interplay of music, light, and presence, a soft hum threading through the room from the string quartet, emphasizing the charged yet contained energy, Lily's eyes scanning the audience, noting the subtle nods, widened eyes, and gentle inclinations of heads, the silent acknowledgement of mastery and confidence spreading. Like a quiet current through the room, every small gesture amplified by the attentive observation, the polished surface of the grand piano capturing reflections of both performer and spectators, Jonathan's posture shifting slightly as he allowed himself to absorb the elegance, control, and mastery that radiated from her. The room collectively recognizing the quiet power of dedication, perseverance, and talent, a shared sense of admiration threading subtly among the guests, the soft ambient energy connecting each observer to the presence and artistry of Lily Harper, a delicate tension lingering, anticipation mixed with awe as the evening seemed suspended in the stillness of the moment, every observer captivated by the precision, grace, and quiet authority that had transformed expectation into wonder, the chandeliers casting shifting prisms of light that danced across the room, accentuating the subtle rise and fall of her shoulders, the delicate flexing of her fingers, and the composed expression that held all attention. Jonathan exhaling slowly, a hand brushing lightly along his jawline as he processed the depth of what he had witnessed, the audience quietly holding their collective breath, waiting, fully absorbed, the atmosphere charged with recognition and the unspoken realization that the young pianist had claimed both their attention and respect, leaving a lingering sense of anticipation, awe, and admiration for the moments yet to unfold in the performance and beyond. The room exhaled slowly as the weight of Lily Harper's performance settled fully over the grand ballroom, a profound silence threading through every polished surface and reflecting in the golden glow of the chandeliers. Jonathan Carlyle leaning slightly forward, elbows resting lightly on the table, his sharp eyes softened with a mixture of admiration and contemplative awe, the faint rustle of silk gowns and subtle tap of polished shoes punctuating the otherwise hushed atmosphere, Lily's hands flexing lightly above the polished keys, the gentle rise and fall of her chest a rhythmic anchor amid the charged stillness, her gaze sweeping over the audience with quiet assurance, noting the transformation in their expressions from initial skepticism to reverent respect, the subtle interplay of light and shadow catching the slight movement of her hair and the poised arch of her fingers, reflecting a delicate elegance that magnified the significance of each passing moment. Jonathan's expression shifting further as he considered the journey that had led her here. The years of quiet practice, dedication, and self-discipline crystallized in the serene mastery she displayed, the guests leaning subtly forward, their collective attention fully captured, whispers of astonishment fading into an unspoken acknowledgement of talent and composure. The soft ambient fragrance of roses and polished wood mingling with the subtle aroma of evening perfume, creating an intimate backdrop to the grandeur of the room. Lily's posture impeccable, radiating calm authority, the faintest smile tracing her lips as she sensed the quiet transformation of the audience, their earlier assumptions dissolved into wonder and curiosity, the soft hum of the string quartet underscoring the delicate tension and shared admiration, each note lingering in memory and threading through the room like a gentle, invisible current. Jonathan leaning back slightly, hands brushing the polished edge of the table, eyes narrowing with thoughtful appreciation, the subtle energy of expectation and respect interweaving among the guests. Every observer absorbing the precise control, elegance, and quiet power emanating from Lily Harper. The polished piano reflecting fragments of light and faces, each glimmer capturing the attentive focus and